When most people lose a lot of money trading, they usually take a break, but that's not the case on WallStreetBets, as this one trader lost $230,000 in just 3 months and doesn't intend to quit, which is why he's looking for advice on the best place possible, WallStreetBets. But when you stick to trading for a long time, you could make a comeback, as this trader broke even after 4 years and then went on to make a 6x gain in the following year. But as we all know, that's not what usually happens, as another trader went from being debt-free and having a nice chunk of savings to a net worth of negative $25,000 in just a year. And it is my honor to present to you a trader who goes by the name of Ordinary Course 3254. He started on September the 1st and November the 10th. His total losses are $230,000. It took him years to get this money and he wasted it in a few days. He's not old though and made this money from scratch, as just 6 years ago he had absolutely nothing. For a moment he thought he had the skill for making money and was smart enough to make even more, but he ended up losing more than 50% of his capital, and from what I found he was mostly trading forex. Recently he even thought that he learned from his mistakes over the past 2 months, but he was so wrong that while he was writing this post he lost his base capital he deposited 2 days ago. Earlier this week he made a childish plan that he would start with $2,000 as a base capital and he would target 1 to 5% daily profit or loss on the long journey to get his money back. But obviously it wasn't realistic enough and again ended up with zero balance on his account. This crisis affected his focus on his work and his studies, and on a way to be a wise investor he started copying some smart profiles and traders on eToro. It might have a bad ending too, even if their portfolios have good reputations and trade on record. He also thinks he knows his mistakes, or at least assumes he knows them. They are as follows: greed, awful risk management, and low technical analysis skills. But on the bright side, he's expecting to get 10k from the broker next week as a rebate, although he's afraid to follow his stupid plans and waste that money as well. Now, if even he thinks his own plans are stupid, I'd say this is the prime time to stop. But obviously he doesn't intend to quit, because as we all know, all gamblers quit before they win big. And because he doesn't want to waste the rest of his money, he's looking for advice from a community renowned for its smart financial decisions, WallStreetBets of course. So yeah, maybe trading isn't his thing, as he discovered some issues in his personality, like he's a gambling person more than a risk taker and has an issue of overconfidence. Luckily in the end he decided to quit, at least until he has a better investment plan than a revenge one. But somehow some traders actually make a comeback, as trader who goes by the name of Wolf is down by 640% or $41,000 in the past year, but his journey began a long time ago on August 27th, 2018, when he deposited $10,695.16 on Robinhood. He immediately got into trading options when he turned 18 and naturally blew up his account, as he lost it all to wheat and Intel iron condors blowing up in his face multiple times. Then he didn't trade for a couple of years, and on August 1st, 2022, he finally decided it was time to get back into trading option spreads on Robinhood. Unfortunately, they downgraded him a few years back, probably because he went completely inactive. So full of excitement, he reapplied for options level 3, but to his dismay, they instantly rejected his application and required him to contact customer support. So of course that wasn't going to fly with him, as he immediately scheduled an appointment for the same day. But being the regard he is, he completely forgot about it, which is why they left him a voicemail reminding him about his scheduled call, saying they'd call him back in 15 minutes. He anxiously waits 25 minutes and finally gets a call back from Rob with Robinhood, who asked him about his personal information, and things were going nicely until he suddenly asked him if he knows what strategies he's going to be using. Now, when most people want to trade options, they hopefully do a bit of research and decide on their favorite favorite strategy. But you see, he's a bit different. He belongs to WallStreetBets, which is why his mind went completely blank, and the first thing he thought of were the iron condors he blew up his account with 4 years ago. But nevertheless, he instantly blurted that out. And then things took a turn for the worse. Rob from Robinhood suddenly asked him if he can describe to him what direction he wants a stock to move if he has a put debit spread. Obviously he has no clue, as he hasn't traded spreads in years. So he's regarded as instantly pulls up Google on his phone and types put debit spread in the search bar with his sweaty fingers. It's an awkward silence, he's just hanging with but somehow managed to spit out the first search result word for word, and luckily for him it worked. He got asked a few more trivia questions like what's maximum loss for a call debit spread, and he nailed them all thanks to Google, of course. And that is how he got options level 3. And I guess this just shows why most people trying options on Robinhood instantly lose everything. Anyway, with that out of the way, he came back to win it all back. And on September the 12th, 2022, he was finally up by 0.82% or $88.23. And he made such an impressive gain because he's a gambler and bought 1 week till expiry Alibaba puts and sold them because he screenshotted his gains, which was actually smart and shows the maturity of this trader. And because a lot of other people realized this, they encouraged him to withdraw some of his gains. But sadly, his greed knows no bounds, as he went all in into calls before the CPI. Now in perfect hindsight, we all know how the market usually reacted to the CPI report in that year, but he still had hope that the one time he bought calls it would be different. Sadly, that wasn't enough, as he blew it and lost $4,000. And that brings us to his latest post, as he's up by 640% or $41,000. His biggest three winners were KHC, KR and SoFi. There were surprisingly no losers because he never sold for a loss since the day he made a comeback. Currently he's done with calls and just sold CCL puts since he just bought a cruise vacation with them. On top of that, he's finally graduating college and got a new job that doesn't have him flipping burgers at Wendy's. His strategy is made out of 80% buying calls and 20% covered call selling. His calls are most of the time out of the money and rarely at the money. On top of that, he usually buys with around 3 months to expiration or more, as he doesn't pay attention to any of the Greeks except Vega and always sells before expiration. And last but not least, we have an insane loss by no standard 1461, who lost $32,000 in the past 6 months, $57,000 in the past year and $107,000 in total. Now quickly inspecting his chart, we can see that he was lucky enough to get one pre-win before his account started almost perfectly falling. He lost most of the money on SPX, SPY, Tesla and 10DX, as he always let options expire worthless. On a real note, he was debt free and had a nice chunk of savings. Now he's in debt and working his butt off to hopefully be debt free by 2025 and to forever cure his gambling problem on options. Every time he thought he'd be the one of the few to hit a 1000% banger. Instead, he just watched green go to red because he's just greedy. His trading journey was greed and hope, and he failed badly, as he has a net worth of negative $25,000 instead of around $250k in 2020. And if you want to see a trader who inversed himself and made $1,111,000, click on the video just popped up. If you like my content, make sure to subscribe, and if you have any questions or recommendations, leave in the comments below, and thanks for watching.